Um, so like I said, I'm Raz's right hand man. I actually deal directly with him. I don't take too many of these calls, but Parker had a slight last minute emergency, so I'll take good care of you. You're stuck with me for the next little while, but we'll just jump right into it.
Fine with me.
So Grant, the way I like to usually run these calls is I want to get a better idea of your current situation, right? So like where you are right now, where you're trying to change, and what you need help with, right? If it's aligned in terms of what you're looking for, we'll talk about possible next steps and go from there. So I had a look at your application, but I don't want to make any assumptions and just tell you what I think. So in terms of starting something like this, like what's the actual goal that you're trying to achieve?
So I think my overall like main type of thing is I want to be able to have, at least in the beginning, some sort of side income. Right now I'm kind of uh I'm not necessarily paycheck to paycheck, but it's like pretty close, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I want to be able to have a little bit more freedom with uh the money that I spend, maybe buy some more guitars, at first or whatever. But if it does pan out and end up being something that makes me more money than, just like a normal side gig, that would be great. And I'd love to continue down that road. But it just
yeah.
currently right now, it feels like a nice way to at least um, make some extra money on the side so I don't feel like I'm stuck. I'm right now I do IT for a law firm, and
Right.
uh, that's fun and all. I enjoy it, but it feels like, at least at the current place that I'm at, there's not a lot of room to advance past the position that I'm at right now. So, uh, in the midst of like applying for other IT positions at different law firms and stuff, I kind of was scrolling through Instagram and came across this opportunity, and I figured, hey, it's worth a shot.
It's like those Cannon event moments, isn't it, where you find the key to the castle. But tell me, Grant, you said you feel stuck. What do you mean by that?
So I mean, I'm I'm in IT. I don't necessarily like, to give you an idea of where I'm coming from. My major in college was anthropology, and
Yeah,
now I'm doing IT for a law firm. So it kind of just feels like I didn't plan to be here, but I just happen to be good with computers. So uh,
yeah.
I'm kind of taking opportunities as I see them in life. But when I when I say I feel stuck, I mean I feel like whenever I go and look for other jobs, it's kind of the same type of thing, just in a different place, and I get up, do a 9 to 5, I get home, do jujitsu, and I go home and I pass out and I do it all over again the next day. And I don't really feel like I have a lot of free time to really look for other things, but also I want to be able to just work to make some money that like I can spend like on the side, on like take my girlfriend on a cool vacation, or at
Yeah,
least have a nice dinner and not worry about, am I going to hit my mortgage this month? you know
yeah,
so
100%, definitely. I mean, it sounds like this is something that you've thought about for a while, right? Like it kind of sounds like you kind of explained sort of the hamster wheel, right? Where it's like you wake up and go to sleep, and every day kind of molds into one. And I get it because I used to be in like corporate. That's where I started off, and I can tell you right now that I personally didn't like it too much, right?
yeah.
And from the sounds of it, you don't either. So, how long have you been doing this for? How long has it been going on?
I just hit my 10-year anniversary a few days ago.
Gotcha. And how long have you wanted out?
uh well, I started in the job that I'm currently in as kind of like a temporary thing, honestly, because I wanted to look for something in anthropology. uh but it doesn't pay well unless you're willing to travel all over the world and like maybe become an educator at some point. And I just didn't
Yeah,
see that in my future. I should have probably thought about that as I was doing the major, but I was really interested in it.
yeah,
um, but yeah, I mean, I I started here as kind of a temporary position, and just kind of, I was just a file clerk, and I ended up kind of creating this position for myself because I just happened to be good at other things outside of the job that I was doing. But I feel like that's only taken me so far. So about, I don't know, I'd say probably about a solid 5 years now, I've been like just thinking of other opportunities that sound more appealing.
yeah,
And I mean, I could try and go gigging, and but I don't think the life of a struggling musician is really something that I was envisioning. I play guitar for fun. I don't want to do it for a living, which I don't know. It'd be cool and all, but I just enjoy playing. I'm not a performer.
yeah, 100%. But I mean, 5 years is a long time, Grant. You know, what do you feel like's been holding you back for 5 years?
I think it's mainly the comfort level because the job's not horrible. I mean, the people I work with are good and the paycheck's enough to keep me moving.
Yeah,
Uh, and I'm good at it. So all of those things kind of just blend into a nice milkshake of stability. I mean,
yeah, the golden handcuffs, right?
yeah. So
Yeah,
I feel stable and and comfortable where I'm at. And I think that's the thing that keeps me there.
yeah, 100%. And that's the way it goes, or that's the way it's designed, is because it's done in a way that it's just about enough that you don't want to go, but also just about enough to keep you when you don't like doing it, right? And that's
Yeah.
the danger. Is I'm sure you can think of people in the office right now and say, Jesus, Grant, it feels like I started yesterday and it's been 20 years, right? And that's what happens, you know. But so help me understand then, is the goal then really to find an out? Is there like, is this what you're looking for in terms of having this so that it's generating enough that you can leave your 9 to 5 behind? Or is it a thing that you want to do on the side? Like, help me understand that.
I mean, I don't want to have super high expectations. I mean, uh I'm not super familiar with YouTube and analytics. Like I watch videos, but that's about it. I don't understand how generating views can turn into revenue, but
Yeah,
I I think it would be a nice way for me to spend my time that allows me to maybe make a little bit of money on the side. And if it does end up growing into something where I'm matching the salary I currently make, I'd love to do this full time and have a lot more time in my day and more freedom. So,
yeah,
ultimately that would be great, but I don't want to like set myself up with high hopes and then things don't work out, and you know,
yeah.
so
And we'll take things obviously step by step, but I mean to rephrase and the main thing is that once you feel like it works for you and that you see that it is possible, the goal is eventually to find an out, right? To get out of your
oh
current
yeah.
job. Okay, 100%. So, I mean, how much would you have to be earning from something like this for you to be able to do that?
I mean, right now, I mean, as a IT slash admin guy, I really only make about, I think my salary is 52,000 a year. So it's not,
Yeah,
I could probably find other IT jobs, but again, that goes back to the comfort level and then the time to find and apply and go interview. Uh,
yeah,
but the salary increase a lot of times just it's not enticing enough to leave the
yeah,
comfort flexibility of the job I currently have. And so I mean, yeah, if I could find a way to do something full time, you know, that's not 40 hours a week, uh, and
yeah,
keep that same flexibility or increase it, that's really appealing to me.
yeah, 100%. And I mean, I can tell you right now with 52K, it's definitely possible. You know, it obviously takes time, and it's not that it's easy, but it is simple, and it requires about 8 to 10 hours of work starting off. But you know, we can definitely get you there. But what I want to figure out is, you know, it's been 5 years, Grant, so it's been a while, right? Have you tried anything else in that time, or have you just kind of looked around and the comforts kind of held you back? Just out of curiosity.
I- I've tried. I look for a lot of different positions within the field that I'm in. So like specifically IT for the legal field.
Yeah.
But I mean, I haven't branched outside of that too much. And the
Okay.
job the job offers that I have looked at don't like the company I work for right now, their benefits are really good. So that usually starts like weighing against my decision to leave. And they're very good at um, creating an environment that I want to be in, at least day to day. Like there are people there. There's obviously every workplace is going to have people that you want to be around, you don't want to be around. But you know, I've created friends there. I've gotten
Yeah,
to a point
absolutely.
where people respect the knowledge that I have for the job too, and you know, those kinds of things make you, I don't know, a little bit more loyal to a company, which I don't know. I'm starting to, I don't know, maybe my eyes are opening a little bit, and I'm not necessarily like seeing it as a, I don't know what. I'm bluntly, I'm saying like, why am I being loyal to a company that's only gonna let me go so far?
Yeah. I mean, the real question is that something that you want? Is like, do you want that comfort? Because most people take it, right? Most people just do that. So is that something you want, or is that something you ultimately actually want to change?
I would love to change that. I mean, I've been changing a lot in my life lately, and uh, I think having stepping outside of that 9 to 5, which I've really known my whole life, you know, other than like starting work in my teens and just doing retail.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I'm kind of sick of it, and I don't want to be doing this in another 10 years, another 15, 20 years, and then be old, retire, and then, oh, hey, now I'm old, I have money, and I'll travel now. I
Yeah.
want
But
to,
why not though? Because I mean, it's it's not that it's. I mean, from the sounds of it, it's not like you find it terrible, right? Like it kind of sounds like the benefits are just about a good enough. You've got friends, so like, I mean, why not just do that?
it feels like it's a little bit of a trap, honestly. Like there are good aspects about it, but you know, I own this condo, and I pay a mortgage, and
Yeah.
I spend you know, most of my time throughout the week at a job that you know I like, but at the same time I don't like. And there's been some shifts in management within the past couple of years, and I do see kind of a downward spiral, high turnover with employees, and it just doesn't look like it's gonna remain the same place that I grew comfortable
Yeah.
with.
100%. And that kind of leads to my next question, Grant, which is like, you know, because it has been a while, right? Like it's been a good few years. So I mean, like, what is it that shifted recently? Because it kind of sounds like you felt this way since for a while, right? Like it's been a thing where you've had the want to get out, but it's like you've been dragged back. So what is it that's kind of shifted for you recently, where it's like, you know what, I want out. I just want to find the right thing. Like, what is it that like now is the time?
Uh, well, to get a little bit personal, I was kind of a heavy drinker for a really long time, and I think that stepped in the way of a lot of the goals that I wanted to do, you know, and I made a lot of excuses and a lot of decisions that just kind of either held me back or held me in the same place.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a lot of work on myself the past, like, say it's been a year now almost, and uh, you know, I've been staying away from alcohol. I haven't uh, been sober completely for a long time, and it feels like ambitions that I had when I was younger are starting to come back, and I don't want to let that spark of motivation die, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. And first of all, congratulations on getting the other side. That's the beginning, right? Like we always have to take it step by step, but that's the first move we have to make to get to the other side. So kudos to you on doing that.
Thank you.
I mean, ideally, like that kind of is the ideal person that we like to work with, Grant, right? Like people that actually like to take action. They're seeing that change in their life and they want to put in the work, right? Because we can give them everything that they need to obviously follow the steps, but we can't make them show up, right? And that kind of sounds like so far that you are starting to show up for yourself and make those decisions. Yeah, is that
Yeah.
right? Right.
Yeah, it totally. I mean, it's been too long that I've been standing in my own way, and I want to move aside and let myself at least give something a shot. That seems enticing. You know, if things don't pan out, I I want it to be because, you know, something other than myself standing in the way didn't work out. Like I
Yeah,
know that I'm gonna put everything I can into this. So I think even if it doesn't work out, I'll have that, and that's okay with me.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's true. I mean, whose responsibility really is it whether we get to where we want to go and get to the position where we can do the things we want in our life, right? Like, who does it pull down to,
Ourselves.
right? So, I mean, what decisions do we have to make from now, as of today, to be able to get closer to that goal, right?
Right.
I mean, what are they? Like, what do we have to do to be able to get to the other side? You know, take accountability. What is it for you?
Yeah, I think accountability is a big thing. Yeah, but I think also stepping out of that comfort zone and trying to branch into something that um, like an opportunity that you don't want to say, oh, that sounds like a good opportunity, but that's never going to work out, and then you don't even try. You know, at least giving it a full fair shot, I think is something that I want to be able to try to do. And if not this, it'll be something else. But um, I want to be able to say, like, I put my all into a bunch of things until something worked out.
100%. So, I mean, let's say, Grant, 6 months from now, right? We're in a position where you're making 5K per month passively, right? You're able to leave your 9 to 5 job. You know that you backed yourself. You know that you've taken the steps necessary in your life to not feel stuck in those golden handcuffs, right? How's that going to feel for you, like, personally?
Be extremely validating. One, I mean, I've I've been doing a lot of um, I would say mental health work lately,
Yeah,
and I think having something that I've I've committed to fully and tried and have it work out like that, I think that would be really validating that I'm on the right path and I've made the right decisions now with my life to do something worthwhile.
yeah, 100%. And when you say, like, validating, I hope I'm not being too personal, and please, if I
Yeah,
am,
go for it.
let me know. Do
An
you feel like
open book.
right now you haven't you haven't backed yourself so far the way that you'd like in certain things, and that's it's kind of
I think
a
a-
factor.
as a result that of like, you know, choosing to not put my all into a lot of things that could probably benefit me,
Yeah,
and decide to go out and drink instead, and just like keep it in the back of my head as a pipe dream
yeah,
instead of like actually trying to make something work. I think that's the biggest difference when I say it'll be validating of like if all I needed to do was, you know, put some hard work into one thing and focus on that instead of try a million different little things and not be 100% in on any of them.
Yeah.
Uh, that'd be, I think that, because I know I'm a hard worker and I know I can do something, but I think it's when I was drinking, I would get just super demotivated. It wouldn't have anything that could keep up that stimulus, and like
Yeah.
I'm trying to put it into words, but yeah, it's
No, I get you, you know, that's things come up and things slow us down, but the most important part is that we take the action we have to do to make those changes. I mean, can I ask, Grant, I know you mentioned you have a girlfriend. Do you have kids or do you have a family?
no kids, and like I have my parents and my brother and some nephews, but nothing, no like internal family of my own.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, the reason I asked that, Grant, is because one thing I've personally noticed with the people that are really, really successful, especially in entrepreneurship, are the ones that have like that driving factor, right? The thing that for them, when things do get a bit hard or they feel like throwing in the towel, which is normal, right? It happens. Hard things come up. What is it for you that those days when you do just feel like pulling out your hair, and I think I'm frozen, hang on.
No, it's okay.
When you do feel like pulling out your hair and just kind of throwing in that towel, like what is it for you that's going to push you through those days or has pushed you so far?
Yeah, the I think the biggest thing is, I do want a family and kids, and I think, to go back a little bit, I think the reason why I haven't committed fully is because I haven't had that sort of confidence in myself to say, oh yeah, I could uh, be a good dad or a good husband, and I just like I let that kind of stop me where I'm at. But to answer your question, if something like, because I've dealt with hard things a lot lately, and what keeps me really pushing forward is that um, those are experiences that I kind of want to have in a way. Like I don't want to have everything just kind of coasting and not growing myself in a way, because I think when things get hard, to really double down and work through it is what builds character and what makes you a better person. And
Yeah,
not only does it do that, it makes you really appreciate the thing that you're working for.
yeah, 100%. So from the sounds of it, it kind of sounds like that confidence in yourself is what you're looking for, right? Knowing that you're going to do what you say you're going to do and that you back it, right? That's what's going to give it to you. Is that right in saying, or am I way left with that?
No, that's pretty spot on.
All right. So I mean, let's say, Grant, let's just say 6 months from now, right? Like you're brushing your teeth in the mirror. You're in that position where you have that confidence. You know, you're looking back. It's like I've backed myself these last 6 months. I've done what I know I have to do to make a change. I'm out of the job that I don't want to be in. I'm, out of that comfort trap that's been going on for 5 years. Like, how's that going to feel in that moment?
That is hard to say, honestly, until I'm there.
Yeah, but I mean, how would you want it to feel? Like, what's the idea? What's the goal in that sense? Like, what do you think you'd feel, or what do you want to feel in that moment?
I think at the very least, I feel comfortable saying that I would be proud of myself to be able to have made it that far. You
Yeah,
know, if I can always pick up another IT job, but to
yeah,
really do something that feels so out of my comfort zone with a lot of opportunity and get to that point, I think would be, I'd have a lot of confidence. I'd have um, that kind of internal pride in myself to be able to say, like I can do this. And if there's, something else I want to do in the future that might have a lot of roadblocks, I know I can get through at least 6 months of them.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Jack, the truth is that you can do that, right?
Yeah.
And you've done it with the alcohol and you've stopped it. So like, it's not the way we see wins and the way we see our lives is just, it's essentially just the mindset shift of like, it's so easy to be critical and think of all the things you've done wrong, but we always forget the small wins that we've compounded. Like stopping drinking for however long that you did, and it sounded like it was a long time, Grant. The fact that you stopped and you've made that change shows that there is a very strong want and desire to make that shift. So the question is like, can I? I can, but I have to take the steps required one by one to get to the other side. Right.
Right.
And Jack, I mean, we also have to consider, the other side of the coin. And that does reflect on, what we were talking about there is that what happens if we don't make that change, right? What happens if we're still in the same job 6 months from now and we still have wanted to make that change for all that time, but we might have got another pay rise or just enough to keep us in that same position. We're still on that hamster wheel. How is that going to feel in that moment if we don't make that shift 6 months from now?
Do you mean in the sense that if things start, if I commit 100% to the automation and everything?
No. I mean, I just mean in
Okay.
general. Forget
Oh,
forget
okay.
the
Yeah.
automation. My question is like, let's just say 6 months from now, like you're still in that same job, right? You're still in the same position we are right now, the one we're speaking in right now.
I
But the
see what
gold
you're saying.
backups are on and we're in that same position. How's that gonna feel then knowing that we didn't make the decisions we had to make to get to that?
Yeah. I mean, really, I can only blame myself, but at the same time, it's if I do end up in that position, there's always a day ahead and I can take that next step anytime. So I'm not necessarily, I don't think I would beat myself up too hard about it because there's really no point in doing that. It's the
Yeah.
only thing that you can do is take those steps. I mean, that's the only thing that's going to stop that feeling of disappointment. Like it doesn't just go away if you don't take those steps to get over it.
Yeah, and absolutely. But to be completely respectful, Grant, it's been 5 years, right? So it's like it's a reality that you're in right now, and that's not to be come across as rude or too.
No, it's true.
It's the truth. So I mean, the question is like, how much longer do you really want to go down that way? Because right now it looks like it's sort of a possibility that it's very likely it could be another 6 months where we're in the same position, you know?
And yeah, I mean, if it's possible, but I know that I'm putting the applications out there. I'm looking in other avenues. So
Yeah,
I mean, I'm I'm not worried about it really. I'm
yeah,
not going to be here for forever. If it ends up being another 6 months, so be it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop taking those steps forward.
100%. And obviously there's other opportunities and there's other things we can apply to. But my question is that something that you actually want?
I mean, I want to be able to pay my mortgage and uh, eventually start a family, take my girlfriend on, to nice places, or even just places where we could spend time together. Uh,
Yeah,
that's kind of the baseline. Everything else from that is a lucky bonus. Like if I can not have to worry about my financial situation and just like be able to enjoy the time I have with the people around me, that's fine with me.
yeah,
Uh, I do want more, and I want to be able to get past that baseline if I can.
yeah, 100%. And Jack, it kind of comes back to the whole point of like whose responsibility is it to make sure that we can do that? Because as you mentioned, it kind of sounds like the way that you're going isn't going to get you there as quickly as you'd like, right?
Right.
So what do you need to do to make sure that you can achieve that, right? Like what decisions and commitments do you feel like you need to make so that you can do that?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm working towards more certifications, at least in my IT field, so I can get a better job, instead of just a in-house legal IT guy. I have opportunities for network engineer and um, just jobs that pay a little bit more than what I'm doing now. And if that's the route that's going to get me there, I'll take it. I mean, it's not like I don't enjoy doing IT. So I would be happy learning all kinds of things, but I think IT is the one that I I would be most passionate about.
Right.
So yeah.
100%. And that's perfectly fine. I can completely respect that. But what I want to understand is that, like, why not then just, why even look into something like this? Like, why even look into YouTube automation? Why not just continue down and just get more certifications in IT and just do that, right? Because that's, as you said, it's a possibility. You could do that if you wanted, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would I would enjoy less freedoms with that route. Like I would have a lot of time. A lot of IT people don't work 9 to 5. It's hard hours. Then a lot of times you're on call. A lot of times things happen out of the blue. Cybersecurity is only becoming more difficult every day, and
Yeah.
more threats just show up. So I I could do that life, and I think it would be.
But you can though. Like, I mean, most people would do that. Most people will go and they'd get their pension, they'd work 60, 70 hour weeks. My father did it. My father worked in one of the big four. He works even to this day, he's almost 70 and he still works because that's all he knows. But that's fine if that's what he wants. That's, I can understand that. But my question is, like, is that actually something that you want to do? Because from the sounds of it, it kind of sounds like you're thinking about getting that certification. I mean, why even look into YouTube automation if it's not something that you're certain of, right?
I mean, it sounds like it comes with a lot more freedom to not have to worry about doing this until I'm 70. I mean, that's a great commitment that your dad's made. I mean, that's awesome, but I I don't want to have to rely on working for somebody else for another, you know, how old am I? 20, 30 years. you know
You
Eh,
forget for a second.
it's time flies, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I don't want time to fly and then all of a sudden I'm just staring down the barrel of another computer that's gonna for a company that I'm just there to do IT. I want to be able to have that freedom to be able to tell myself what I want to do, have a team that I can manage, and do something that where I'm not really dependent on somebody else's decision making to control my future.
Right. 100%. So, I mean, let me rephrase then. My question is then, in terms of the decisions and the commitments you have to make, and that doesn't mean that it has to be with us, or don't think that's the route that I'm trying to take. My question is, like, the commitments and the decisions you feel like you have to make to be able to get out of that, right? And that's whether it's with us, whether it's with someone else, it doesn't matter. My question is, like, what do you feel like you need to do to be able to make sure that you're not stuck in that position, similar to my father, whatever it is, when he's 70 and still working for someone else, or in the position you're in now, right? What do you feel like you need to do to make sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah, I need to become more self-sufficient to be able to find a way to do things on my own, whether that be YouTube automation, starting a restaurant, or something that I have I think it's that freedom that I crave. I don't like to be under somebody else's thumb, but like in order to take those steps, I have to branch out and find things uh, that may be a little bit more unconventional than, you know, going through being the 100 billionth person to go down the IT path, get certifications, and because that path, it works for a lot of people, it's proven. But I just, if there's something else that I can do to get myself kind of breaking that mold and getting to a path that I feel like is not necessarily as traveled, I
Yeah,
can and make it work, I think I would be extremely proud of that. And that, just that in itself would give me that motivation to, who knows, I could, I don't know, be one of the people who Elon Musk sends to Mars or something. I don't know. It just and but I mean it just, it kind of opens that hamster wheel and you get out of that, the cage that the hamster's in, you see a whole room full of opportunities. And I think that's the sight I want to be able to see at some point.
yeah, 100%. To be honest, Grant, I do feel like what we do is could really help, and I do feel like it is a good fit in terms of what we do. So what I actually like to do now is actually show you and just kind of walk you through. I have a small presentation I just want to use to explain sort of exactly what we do.
Okay,
Cool.
sure, yeah.
Bear me 2 seconds. Hang on.
And if you don't mind me asking, how did you end up getting into something like this?
I actually went to college and I absolutely hated it. My dad kind of wanted me to go. And to be honest, I kind of just realized I was like, I looked at my dad and I was like, I don't want to just live that life. I don't want to be working for someone else and being told when to do what and, have to pick my holidays and that kind of stuff. And it was very scary. I'll tell you that, and especially when like you're kind of walking the path that a lot of people don't really know about. Like most people that I just went to college and have a normal job will tell you to do that.
Yeah,
So I just got in touch with the right people that kind of acted as like a mentor for me, and they kind of walked me through. But I'll go into more of that towards the end of the call, but we are kind of stuck with a little bit of time, so I'll
okay,
walk you
no
through.
worries. That's awesome. Congrats on that.
Thank you. And I'll walk you through this. Can you see this? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Grant. So a bit of a backstory, right? So with Grow Channels, Raz tried a bunch of different things when he was very young, and there was obviously tribulations and things that got in the way that he was trying to figure out what it was for him. So he came across YouTube automation at the age of 17, and by the time he was 19, it made him a millionaire, right? And to be honest, Raz now doesn't really have to work. He doesn't have to go and really do anything. If he wanted to sit on the beach in Bali, that's exactly what he could do. But he started Grow Channels more to transfer the knowledge that he has in the same process that he used, so that other people can reap the rewards from YouTube and from obviously the income that it can bring in as well. Right. So that's pretty much a backstory in terms of how Grow Channel started. Now that's not to say that it's easy, right? It's not. Like it requires some upfront work, but it's very simple. And this isn't just a program where you come in and that's it and you leave it to the wolves. This is a hands-on mentorship with someone who's done it before, right? Someone who's running YouTube channels that's going to show you what to do. So the way this works, the mentorship is a simple 4-step process, right? Where Raz and the whole team will work alongside you. That's until your first channel is hitting a minimum of 5K per month. Now, that doesn't mean, Grant, that we're just going to try to the wolves and say goodbye after 5K. But the whole goal here is to teach you how to fish so that you can eat for the rest of your life. You don't want to hop on calls with me or another member of the team for the rest of your life either, right? Because then it just becomes another 9 to 5. So yeah, the goal is to get you there so that we can transfer that knowledge onto you. The investment is 6,800 USD. Now, there's a few ways we can go about breaking that down, so don't get too caught up with it. But the program is structured in a way to get your results as fast as possible, right? That's by leveraging our systems. This is the same process we've used for over 1,000 students of how we've gotten to the 5K mark and above the 10, 15K. The network as well, which is super important because it's similar in the sense that when we're working in an office job and we're working in IT or in the corporate space, we don't know a lot of people doing this. And it becomes a lot less scary and a lot more lonely when it's just us. So being in touch with people that are doing the same thing as you and also struggling with the same things is super important, because you can also learn from the people that are doing better than you and implement that knowledge into your own channel. And another really important part is the coaching, right? Because we're going to need someone to guide us in terms of what to do. Otherwise, we're just kids in a candy shop looking at loads of sweets in the wall, right? We don't know what to grab or what to pick. We need someone who's done it before that's going to walk us through that process. This is all done, Grant, so that when you come in, it's not just a thing of what the hell do I do next? This is just all execution. We lay it all out. We have it all spread in a sheet, but the one thing we can't do is make you show up, right? Once you're there, you're on the calls, we can show you the whole process and we can get you there. Does that make sense?
It does.
So these are some client channels and expectations, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. So at the time, crypto was a pretty booming niche. This would have been about a year or two ago. But I like to show this more for what it looks like when we put in the work, right? When it actually looks like when we've followed the process, we stick it through and we get to the other side, right? So it's sort of like when we go to the gym. You know, roughly around New Year's, everyone's like, New Year's resolution, gonna get a six-pack, gonna stick it out, right? But what happens to the people in the gym after like 2-3 weeks?
They stop going.
Right. And why did they stop going?
Honestly, it sounds like excuses.
Yeah. Because the gym has all the equipment they need to be able to get the six-pack, but they said they don't see it in 2 weeks. So like, I can't do this, and they just go back, right? Or they say I'll do it tomorrow. So the thing is that when we follow the process, we put in the work, that's when we see exponential growth. So very quickly, this channel was hitting $400, $450 per day. At the time, it was doing just under $5,000 per month. It's now above 10K per month passive. So it's completely outsourced and it acts as a cash cow. This is a channel called Mr. Money, right? So I like to show this, and it's actually relative in your case. This guy came to us from a 9-to-5 position, right? And he wanted to start YouTube automation to be able to leave that job and be able to do this full time so he could travel and spend more time with his family and kids, right? So we can see here that the results are pretty consistent, right? Like here it was hitting 8,000, almost $9,000 per month. And I'll explain how that works with the process and everything like that. But it's just to show that the results are consistent. And when we attend all the coaching calls, which is what this guy did, attend the group coaching calls and do essentially what he's told to do, you'll get the results. This is the exact opposite though. I love to show Lucas because this guy was a knucklehead. Like he came in, he was like, I want to get to 10K per month and I'm going to do it in an XYZ amount of time. So in October, he was already generating just under about $1,000 or €1,000 per month. And in November, he hit over 2.5K, right? Which is pretty quick in terms of results, especially starting off, because we usually expect about 4 to 6 months to hit that 5K mark. So he was halfway there in 2 months. But what Lucas did was he had a bit of an ego. He's 19 and he said, you know what? I know it all. I'm going to stop attending the calls. I'm going to try to do this myself. And you can see his performance just start dipping. It goes to just above 1,000, stays there, but never breaks the 2.5K mark again until about May. So we called him up and said, Lucas, like you came here, you wanted to make 10K. You bought the Corvette, don't leave it in the grass. Like come back on the calls. Let's follow the process. Let's actually get to that 10K mark. And very quickly he hit almost 7K, right? Like that was in a month and a half of getting back in touch with him. So the point is that he could have hit this 3-4 months ago in like February if he just followed the process and stuck it out, right? And now it's completely automated. Like he has knowledge he needs, he has a multitude of channels, and he only comes back to us about once a month to ask Raz for a channel review. So again, like if we're gonna get started, we'll just finish what we started, right? Let's get to the side, and so that you have what you need to be able to make the money you want to make. This is a channel I like to explain more about, like how YouTube automation acts as like digital real estate, right? So it's, in a sense, it's essentially an asset, right? So let's say, for example, this video here, 10 scary stalkers caught on camera. That one video alone generated $1,000. So the way it works, each video costs about $40, $50 to generate with freelancers. And I'll explain that now in the next few slides. But we expect about 2 videos to be posted a week. So month after month after month, when people go onto your channel, there's going to be more videos for them to watch, right? The more videos there are for them to watch, the more you generate from the revenue,
Makes
which means
sense.
slowly start building up, where now each video is generating you a different source of income. Now, you have two options, right? You can either sell that channel down the line and take the upfront cash, or you can actually just keep it as a cash cow and take the, the 10, 15K per month once your channel has reached that point, and then sell it down the line if that's something you want to do. Does that make sense, or any questions on that so far?
No, that makes perfect sense.
Okay. So this is a German folklore channel. Now, granted, I can't read German, so I'm not going to tell you what the videos are about, but
Okay. Yeah, neither
it's
can I.
it's just to explain how YouTube automation acts as, it's just consistent results, right? It's 12K per month of this channel. It's also not all doom and gloom either, right? So in July, 2 cent. Now, the reason that is, Grant, is because we have to get the channel monetized. So that takes about a month's time to get the subscribers in, where we can start generating the revenue. But in August, like, we're still going to generate 1,500, 4,000, and so on. Like, you're going to get results along the way. It's not going to be 0, 0, 0 until month 6 and you're hitting 5. It's going to be consistent growth where we show you the process. This is another channel, again, just to show consistent results, 10K per month. And we can see on the graph, it's bringing in about $300, $350 per day. So the question, Grant, is, right, I can show you all other people's results in the world, but what you want to know, I'm sure, is how we can actually get you there, right? So again, it's a 4-step process. The first one is going to be about 6 hours of content that you're going to watch just to get the gears greased, right? Because we don't want to build a house on sand either. We need to have an idea of how everything works, what the next 6 months are going to look like, so that we can start planning it out. Now, the most important thing that you can do is make sure that you pick the right niche. And this is what happens when people go out on their own, is that they have to go through the trial and error phase of, like, what niche do I pick? Did I niche down too much? Is no one searching up my videos? Is no one interested in it? Did I not niche down enough? And now there's a big competitor that's taken on all the views away from me, right? So there's that sweet kind of middle where we give you 500 pre-vetted niches that you can pick from, so that you're not doing the guesswork. All these niches have potential. There's just about enough competition in them that people are searching for it, and enough room for growth where you can have a long-term channel that's generating the passive income that you want to generate, the 5, 10K mark. Does that make sense?
It does.
Right? Because it's sort of like opening a restaurant, right? Like, a sushi restaurant and a steakhouse take the same amount of effort to open, but one might generate 250K in a year, one might generate 100K, right? We want to make sure that you pick the equivalent of a sushi restaurant. So the work that you put in gives you the maximum output, right?
Right.
So the second pillar is the action plan for your first channel. So again, Grant, this isn't just a thing where we come in and we tell you to figure it by yourself. This is extremely hands-on. This is a full-blown mentorship where we're going to guide you through the whole process and essentially hold your hand as much as we possibly can. So it's a deep dive in terms of niche planning session with a lead coach that's going to break down the next 6 months, right? So we're going to streamline your niche, exactly what you're going to be posting about. It's important that for the first niche we pick, that it's something you're interested about. So from the looks of it, it's probably music, right? So guitars or that kind of thing along that sort of path is probably what I'd recommend going down for your first channel. Otherwise, we're learning 2 things at once, right?
Yeah.
For example, Grant, a niche that always does really well, I'd love to give this example, is celebrity drama. Right? But from the looks of it, I'm going to take a random guess and say that you don't spend your weekends watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, do you? I
It's
hope not.
funny. I had thought about a niche, and I was like, oh, but celebrities, they're all the rage. But I just don't care. I just don't care enough.
We don't want to do that because we're spending so much time watching things we don't want to watch, and then it
Right.
just becomes a nightmare, right? So it's important for the first one anyway to pick some that we're interested in. For these 6 months as well, we're also going to pick out your content. So it's not going to be a thing where you're going to be worrying about what to post. Your coach is going to come up with a plan of exactly what videos we're going to be posting about, how many a week, and what each one is going to be about, right? So we want to get you there as quickly as possible. We don't want to waste any time. We want to give you all the tools you need to be able to win. So yeah, it's essentially that 6-month strategy plan. And this is, again, done so that it's all about execution, right? It's exactly in terms of, even as you mentioned, it's more about having the process laid out with someone who's done it before, rather than having the guesswork of what the hell am I going to do. The third pillar is your team. This is super important because we usually expect, right? So for the first 4 to 6 months, we expect about 8 to 10 hours a week of work, right? To be able to put into this. And that's to be able to set up the team and to be able to make sure that obviously the freelancers are doing the work they're supposed to do. Now, usually a lot of people that start off, especially when they try and, you know, go out on their own or that kind of thing, hire off just Upwork and Fiverr. And the biggest problem with that is that those freelancers aren't pre-vetted. They're not, we don't know what their work is like. We can sure get some things off them or some testimonials, but at the end of the day, we don't know until they've actually done it. And they can be late, they can do essentially a shit job, and we have to ask them again or find someone else. And that's not what we're here for. It's not to build teams, it's to create a channel and to be able to post content, right? That's the ultimate goal here. So the way that we litigate this and minimize it is that we've created a community, right? Where there's first of all, you can post in this channel called Hiring and Outsourcing. And you can actually ask community, 1,600 people, what freelancers they're using, right? So for example, here, this guy was looking for a voiceover artist. I haven't hit him up, said, look, I've got a guy, Southern US accent, Texas, tells you exactly what he charges. And the reason that this is important is because now we know he's legit, right? He's done good work. He's been recommended to us, and we know he's going to get the job done, right? It's the same way going back to the sushi restaurant and the steakhouse. Like, if we're opening a sushi restaurant, we're not going to hire a burger flipper, right? We're going to hire someone that has made sushi before and knows what he's doing. And yeah, the goal here essentially is to show you to get the proper staff, proper freelancers, so that they can manage themselves, and you're not spending hours a week trying to manage them and get the job. They're self-sufficient, and it is literally like the goal here is passive income. So that's what it becomes. Does that make sense? Or any questions on that?
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's before I got on this call, I watched the videos from Raz, and I was thinking, how do you find people that are reliable? And that's because that seems like an extremely big part of it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's any business, honestly. So it's seeing this
100%.
help.
Because that's the thing. The goal here is to build a channel, not to manage a team for the rest of our lives, you know, and worry about whether they're getting the job done. So the last pillar, Grant, is the 5K fast track coaching. So again, this is as step by step, as hands-on as we could possibly make it. We design it specifically this way so that it's not a thing where you come in and you just watch the equivalent of like a Netflix series. Like, this is actually how to do it, exactly how Raz did it and is doing it right now, and exactly the process you need to follow to be able to get the same results, right? So your one-on-one coach is going to work with you directly, just one-on-one, until you get to the 5K per month mark. Now, again, that doesn't mean that it's up to you after that. You're obviously always more than welcome to get another call. But again, the goal here isn't for you to hop on calls with us forever. What we want is for you to be able to leave the nest and be able to make the money you want to make and spend it with your family and do the things you want to do. The second part is the weekly growth and scale calls with Raz himself. So Raz is going to have a look over in terms of, okay, let's have a look at your channel. What would I do personally if this was mine? What would I change so that I can maximize the results to make sure that I can get to that, 5K, 10K, 15K mark? And the last one is unlimited channel reviews. So Raz is going to personally, again, look at your channel and see just small things you would change. So for example, if you're hitting $500 per day and it dips to 300, why did it happen? What do we need to change to make sure that that doesn't happen? How do we create a 1 year, 2 year plan so that you can eventually exit? This is the kind of stuff where this will get more specific when we start generating the revenue we want to generate. So a quick overview. Your coach, again, will work with you one-on-one till you get the 5K per month mark. You'll get lifetime access to the community and updates. The reason that's important is because when you're starting other channels and you're starting to build your portfolio, you're going to have access to obviously how to build the teams, the freelancers, all that kind of stuff. It's the place where to find everything, and also the hop on calls if you ever need to do it again. YouTube, in case they update their terms and conditions or policies, you'll be the first one to know so that it doesn't affect your channel and that we can show you how to work around it to make sure we get those consistent results. And you'll also get access to Raz on the network for years to come. So again, anything else that comes up, anytime you want to hop on a call with Raz or myself or another coach, you're always more than welcome to, and we can walk you through that process. So,
Awesome.
Grant, really what this is, right? It's essentially to increase the threshold of no matter what happens, no war, no pandemic, no war, no divorce can actually take it away from you, right? So even as you mentioned, if Elon Musk blew up all his rockets and blew up his Tesla cars, he could still become a billionaire again because that's the threshold of his skill set. So no matter what happens, you could literally go to prison, know how to do YouTube automation, and come out 2 years later and start making money again. It's the whole point of give a man a fish for a day, or give a man a fish he'll eat for a day, and teach a man to fish he'll eat for the rest of his life, right? So it's to pass on the knowledge so that you have it. You can do what you want with it. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Right. And Grant, with everything we went over in terms of the whole process, there any questions, anything else that you want to clear up, or
I before this I had wrote down a bunch of questions and you answered all of them. I think a lot of that a lot of the worry that I had was trying to, one, find a niche, two, how do I even turn that niche into something people want to watch, and then I think generating revenue out of that is, those were all kind of like, I kind of knew how it worked, but I think uh, hearing you speak it in terms of like beginning to end really helps put that kind of thing into perspective.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, I guess my first question that I wrote on here is one you did answer, but I want to hear it again just so it's solidified in my head. Uh, what is the biggest mistake that you see people making when they jump into an opportunity like this?
Well, actually, that's a very good question. And I'll tell you what it is. It's the fact that we have everything that you need to make it work, right? It's all laid out and it's a proven method we've done over and over again. But what, as a coach for me, what pains me, and because I've been in that situation, I've been there, is when people want to make that change and they don't hop on the calls. It's the people that,
Oh,
like Lucas, for example, that get to a point and they don't come back on and do the work. That's the biggest mistake that people make because people want to make a change, right?
right,
They say they want it, but they don't actually do the work, right? Because everything's laid out, everything's done in a way that Raz is doing this right now. Like Raz has channels generating almost 6 figures a month for him passively. So there's literally no one else better in terms of show you how to actually do it. But
right,
when someone doesn't attend the calls and doesn't do the work, we can't help them. It's the same way like a coach in a gym can give you all the equipment and lay it out exactly the plan and the diet you have to eat. But if you eat Nutella cakes and all that kind of stuff on the weekend secretly, like the only person that you're not helping is yourself,
right.
right?
And I thought of a good metaphor. It's kind of like when you go bowling and you guys are the little side bar things that help you not get a gutter ball. Uh, but it's still me who has to learn how to get a strike, you know.
Yeah, and like we'll show you exactly the process to get the strike and hold your hand to do it. The
Yeah,
only thing you really have to do is just be there. Like
right,
that's it. Because it's not a thing of the guesswork's taken out. We have the whole process, but if you don't decide to get your ticket and come in and start bowling, then we can't even show you how to strike.
right, right. Makes sense to me.
So any like specific questions that are you sure all your questions are answered? Is there anything else in terms of the process? Anything else that you're unsure of? Anything at all? Happy to answer. I'm all ears.
Yeah, I mean, as far as once a niche is found, how do you, I guess, how long into it can you kind of see some red flags? And does that thing, do those red flags mean you have to abandon the channel completely and start a new niche, or is that something that's just easily adjusted based on the content that you're putting out there and the way it's presented?
Yeah, so good question. We actually like the reason we have the 500 pre-vetted niches is to make sure that doesn't happen. Like that, we have it set up so it actually does not happen, right? Any niche that you pick at those 500, you will get the results. The biggest problem that people do is that, for example, do you know like fail compilations? That's a good example to give, right? That's just like a super monopolized niche that when you pick it, there's channels with like 50, 60 million subscribers,
Yeah,
right? So that's the kind of way to know. Like if you're coming and picking a niche and there's a a big channel in that specific niche that you have that has like 70, 80 million subscribers, like you're a goner, you know?
Yeah.
So there's that sweet spot where there's enough competition, there's channels that are bigger than you, but by posting, you can get some of those views and people searching and watching your videos. That's how you can grow. So we have it set up. So out of those 500, you'll pick a niche, right? Myself or another coach are going to walk you through in terms of, okay, music, right? Guitars. Let's have a look and see how can we make it that it's something that you're interested in, something that you can work with, and something that's going to get the views, so that we set it up so that essentially never happens. You'll never be in a position in 4 or 5 months where you're going to have to start again. It's the whole point of doing this, right? To make sure that
Yeah.
you have the right steps and guidance.
Yeah. All right. Then I guess my last question is, why I do this? I mean, it seems like Raz and a lot of you guys are successful on your own. Is there something that drives you to even want to spread this knowledge in the first place?
Legacy, it's legacy. It's the same reason that you want to get out of the job you're in, is that it's the driving factor for me to, you can have all the money in the world and you can have all the things you want, but actual joy, and this is the thing that's hard to explain to people, and I almost feel weird doing it, but it's by actually helping others, right? When you hear someone in the program come back and say, thank you for showing me how to do this, I'm able to leave my job, I'm able to spend more time with my kids. There's no money and there's nothing else in the world that can actually buy that. Like, there's no feeling that it's like I've had a positive influence on this guy's life to the point where he's coming back and thanking me for showing him how to do it. Right? That's what it is for me, and that's what it is for Raz, and that's the reason that I work here and I work alongside him to be able to do that for people. And that's the reason I'm a coach and I hop on calls like this to explain these things.
Sounds encouraging. Yeah.
So the question is, Grant, do you actually see yourself doing this? Is this something you see yourself doing?
Yeah, I think I would love to have this be the thing that I do for a living. I think it hits all of those qualities that I want. I want to work hard, but I don't want to just waste my life sitting at a desk. You know, I
Yeah,
want to be able to have that freedom to find new things and grow into a person that, when I look in the mirror, I'm not disappointed in.
100%. And when you say like you think, right? You think this is something. Is it something you think it is or you would? Because I just want to make sure that if this is something you actually want to do, right? That's what's important to me. Right? Is it that you think it's something you want to do, or is it something you actually want to do?
Oh, I want to do it. It's just, I think I have an air of skepticism because at a certain level, it almost sounds like too good to be true, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, 100%.
But if the only factor that's going to make it pan out the way that it seems like it can for a lot of people, if the only factor is me working hard, then yeah, I can do that 100%.
Yeah. And the skepticism, Grant, like I completely understand that, because it's weird and strange to hop on a call like this when, even when I was in 9 to 5, when I first got into this, I used to think it was crazy. Like, people making money online, people don't have to go to a normal job. Like, it's weird when we grow up in a place where most people don't do those things. Like, they get a pension, they get a house, and everyone's saying that this is the right way to live, right? But there is always the other way. And by the skepticism, Grant, what I want to do is I actually usually like to show this afterwards, because I don't want you to join on a guarantee or anything like that. But I want to give you the peace of mind. So let me show you here. Bear with me 2 seconds. Can you see this? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Second. So this is the guarantee, right? So if you follow the process, you will earn at least $6,800 in your first 6 months, right? Otherwise, Raz will give you all your money back and refund you in full, right? So that's not just a verbal agreement, that's in writing. Like, once we onboard you, that kind of stuff, it's signed, where like that's how sure we are that what we do works. It's not just like walk the walk and I hop on a call and speak encouraging words. Like I know, and I've seen the results and I've helped people do it, that I know that once they follow the process and they take the hand that we put out, they can get it, right? But the responsibility to show up still comes down to the person, right?
Yeah, that does help to see. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I can show up, so that's not going to be a problem for me. So um I'm excited. It's honestly to get started. So hopefully it's I don't know. I'm the kind of person who really likes to intake information. Like I can't show you right now, but I have a giant stack of books of random things over here. My living room's full of books and random things over there. I have classes all over my computer, and I just like to learn things. So if this is, it feels like a skill set that I can learn. And like you said, if something happens in my life that just completely derails the things that I'm doing, I would have no problem just hopping right back into this. And that seems extremely valuable to me.
100%. So just to be sure, Grant, with the skepticism, is that 100% cleared up? And I understand like if there's a bit of nerves and fear, like I completely get that. But what I want to know is that you're sure that you feel like we can get you there. Because that's the most important thing for me. Right? So are you sure?
I mean, I'm as sure as I can be in this moment.
Right. So I mean, the next steps, Grant, are literally just taking some form of payment, getting you set up with your coach and getting the ball rolling. And you'll be locked on the inside. We'll start getting the things going so you can leave that 9 to 5 and get out of that hamster wheel. Right. And it takes sometimes a scary step and it's going to be nerve-wracking, but we're going to take your hand and we're going to show you what to do and we're going to get you there.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So Grant, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Bear me 2 seconds. Tell me when you can see this. Where is it? Every step of the way. I actually have a bit more time, so I actually want to walk you through just the onboarding process and make sure you get set up 100% before we go.
Okay.
1 sec. Okay.